This video is all about how you write equations of lines given different types of information. So you need to write an equation of a line. You always need to have the slope, and you need to have at least one other point on the line. And sometimes you're finding the slope directly, sometimes you're being told the slope. So I'm going to take you through three different versions of what type of information can be given to do equation writing. First problem wants you to write the equation on a line that contains the points 3, -3, and 5, 1. First thing I need always is I need to have the slope. So since they didn't state it directly, I'm going to use my slope formula. Slope formula put down is you subtract the y's on top, you subtract the x's on the bottom. So using these 2 points, I'm going to subtract this way. So I'm going to do 1 minus -3, and then I'm going to subtract the x's the same way, 5 minus 3. On the top, the minus minus becomes an addition, so you get 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom, so we get a slope of 2. Once you know your slope, now you need to take one of the points, and you can either use slope-intercept form, which was y equals mx plus b, or you can use point-slope form. So this is slope-intercept form, this is point-slope form. We tend to use slope-intercept form the most. It is the easiest to remember, and it is the shortest to work with. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one of my points. It doesn't matter which one. I'm actually going to use 5, 1, just so I don't have to worry about having negatives that I might accidentally miss or have a problem when I multiply. I'm going to take that point, and I'm going to take the slope. So 5 is my x, 1 is my y, slope is 2. I'm going to plug all of that into y equals mx plus b. So it's going to be 1 equals 2 times 5 plus b. When you do this, you'll plug everything in except for b. It's the one thing you have to find. So we have 1 equals 10 plus b. Subtract 10 from both sides. So we get b to be -9. Now that you have the m and the b, the slope and the y-intercept, you can write your final answer is y equals 2x minus 9. All we're doing is replacing the m with 2 and the b with -9, and that one's finished. The next one is still asking an equation of a line, but it's giving you different information. It's giving you a point that it's through, and then it's telling you the relationship to a different line. It's saying that it is parallel, so I'm going to underline the word parallel. That's our key word. When you know that two lines are parallel, the definition of parallel in our algebra class has been that they have the same slope. So you're going to look at this line and determine the slope. The slope, since it's in y equals mx plus b form, is going to be the coefficient of x. So here is your slope. The slope you are working with is -3 over 2. Since it is parallel, that is the slope. It is the same slope as that line. So now I have my slope. I have a point. I'm going to go back to y equals mx plus b again to write the equation. My y is 4. My slope I just found is -3 over 2. My x is -1. And I'm looking for b. I have to multiply the -3/2 and the -1, giving me a +3/2. And then I have to subtract both sides by 3/2. You can do this on your calculator if you like. You can do it in your head. You want to get everything in halves. So 4 is 8/2 minus 3/2 is 5/2. And that's our b value. Once you have the slope and the y-intercept, you can put everything into the y equals mx plus b form. So your equation is y equals -3/2 x plus 5/2. And that one is done. All of your questions when you do these will finish with y equals and then everything else on the right, putting it into mx plus b form. One left, and this one has the most steps to it. Still writing an equation of a line. We still know one point that it goes through, but this time the relationship is different with the slope. We know that it's perpendicular to a line that we have 2 points. So I have to first find the slope between these two lines. I need their slope. And then I have to remember the relationship with perpendicular lines is that they have opposite reciprocal slopes. So let me start by finding slope. So I'm going to come over to the 2 points. I'm going to subtract this way this time. I'm going to do 4 minus 2 on top. And then since I started with the 4, I got to start with the 1. 1 minus -3 on the bottom. On the top we get 2. On the bottom this becomes addition. I get 4. You want to reduce that to 1/2. That's the slope between these 2 points. However, I want the perpendicular slope, so I'm going to look for the opposite reciprocal of 1/2. Opposite reciprocal means I change the sign and I flip the fraction. So the perpendicular slope is going to be -2. So I have my slope. I have the point that I have it used at. This is the point that the line goes through. I'm going to once again use y equals mx plus b. using the point and the slope that I just found. So my y is -3, my slope is -2, the x is also -2, and then I'm looking for b. When I multiply -2 times -2, I get 4. Subtract 4 on both sides. -7 equals b. So now I have the slope with -2. I have the y-intercept of -7. So my equation is -2x minus 7. And now this one is done. So it shows you all the different ways that you can write equations of lines with given information that's slightly different from each other.